Get myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nice seem nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, face the music, do the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend. Someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayhemtainment. I am your host, JD, and this is episode 40, TURTLE Power. Marcus Fredrickson played us in. Make sure you go check him out on reverbnation.com/Marcus Fredrickson. We miss you, brother, and we will continue to always use your music here on Mayhem Media. I am joined by a complete roundtable of people, plus there's one missing. He's going to join us fashionably late, but that's all right. First up, video producer, and he also works with Midwest All-Star Wrestling, Chavo Ornelas. Chavo, welcome back.
What's happening? Glad to be back. Glad to be part of the discussion. Glad to meet all you beautiful people.
Yeah, we didn't have much time to do that before we got in for introductions. So next up is the man who did all the graphics for this episode. Don't let him tell you otherwise. In fact, if he doesn't take any credit, we can take care of that because we can just simply change the branding of the episode to his show, Friends of the Squared Circle, anytime. CranderQ, welcome back.
That's right. Why is Joe late? Like I just, I know I'm just going to ask it right out the gate because he's not here to defend himself. So
I was late yesterday. I was late last night to his episode of the No Cell Roundtable. So I'm thinking this is just payback. I was fashionably late to his. He's fashionably late to mine. That's what can you do? And of course, the last, but certainly not the least, our returning champion, who's 5-day total. No, of course not. But from Into the Barricade. He's the host of Into the Barricade and the creator of Into the Barricade, which is going to be making its return again very soon. The last outlaw himself, Saul Goode.
How we doing, fellas? How's everybody this evening?
I'm doing great.
We're going to talk Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I've been excited about this episode.
I even got the TMT mug there. I got the turtle shirt on.
I was going to wear a turtle shirt. I got the Mayhem, bonfire.com/store/JD Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. For now, the Mayhem Media storefront is coming in the next couple of days. It'll be bonfire.com/store/Mayhem Media Inc. And that's where you'll be able to find our apparel going forward. I was going to wear my turtle shirt, but I didn't have enough time to dig it out. All my podcast shirts are, in the rotation of shirts right now. So I didn't have time. So we are going to be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this episode. I assume because you guys all were so excited to come on that you're all fans of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Oh,
I had actually never heard of them before.
All right. So what we're going to do is we got some visuals here that CranderQ made for us. We're going to put them up on the screen. If you're watching, you can leave a comment. We'll do the comments after we go around. Everybody has a chance to talk about it.
So first, let's start off with how you were. Oops, that's not the. How were you introduced? I have that labeled wrong. What was your first introduction into the TMNT, and your first impression? So how were you introduced to it, and then what was your first impression? I labeled the screens wrong. That's on me, CranderQ. Let's
I
start.
thought I spelled something wrong.
Let's start with Saul Goode. Saul Goode, how were you introduced, and what was your first impression?
I honestly believe I was introduced through the original NES game. I think I played the game before I saw the show, so I was actually quite surprised to know they wore different color masks. Because if you look on the original game case, they're all wearing red masks.
Yeah. That's a throwback to the original comic books. They all wore
Yeah,
the same.
I was just going to say, which finding out later as an adult was a reference to the original comic books. But yeah, that's been I was the Ninja Turtles bed sheets, and I got the pictures to prove it.
Yeah, I have some.
Not currently, but
yeah, no, I don't know
wouldn't
if I have
judge you
mine
if you
anymore either, but I do. I also do have some. So,
Those ones are
CranderQ, what about you? What was your?
Yeah, same as Saul there. Mostly the video game, and then the cartoon, and then obviously the toys. Those were the big things. I believe I got one on a birthday present from my buddy Clint. It was Michelangelo as a sailor. So I want to say it was either that or the video game that kind of really got me into it. And I think I had the arcade version that we rented back in the day. Not the first one. It might be the third.
No, the first one was so hard.
So
man,
they're still hard.
Brutal. Chavo, what about you? When were you introduced to the Turtles?
I couldn't tell you if it was the video game or the cartoon. It probably was a combination of both. Cartoon for sure, because of Saturday morning cartoons. That was just, I remember that with Alvin and the Chipmunks and the real Ghostbusters. But at some point, a Nintendo did come into my life. And that first NES game was like just, yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever got past like the second stage. Thank goodness for emulators where they have save slots and stuff. Because if it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd ever had beaten that game. But I think I got maybe to level 2. Definitely got past the little bomb, disabling the bombs, which was
yeah.
I'm sure y'all
That's
went
what
through
I was telling JD earlier. I could do that. It was the next stage that I never passed.
That's the one thing that prepared me for adulthood. That's for sure.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that game didn't have, there were no save spots. If you were beating that game, you were playing through it in the same day. And if you were beating that game in the same day, good for you.
Props. Right, good for you.
Props to that for sure.
So hard.
Oh yeah.
God. All right. So why do you guys think that the show has lasted so long? The Turtles. Let's start with you this time, Chavo.
I think it's just one of those lightning in a bottle kind of things where you have a good idea, good concept, and then you get the right people to help market it. Because the toys and the cartoon kind of going hand in hand. Just, you already taken a really good idea and story, and then you market it towards kids. I mean, you're going to make lots of money. So I think just having that solid foundation of a good idea, marketing to the right people or the right demographic at the right time, and that just really helped them get a foundation to be so relevant. Even what is it, 1986 or give or take, or the comics maybe a few years older than that.
The comics, I think 86, 87 was a cartoon, I think.
So my math is horrible, but that's what 35 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lasting impression. I mean, like I said, I think it just hit at the right time, just like He-Man and all that. But, the fact that the not only the toys were good, but the cartoons were good. Like, not I love me some He-Man, but let's be honest, you're not going to go to the He-Man for some quality Saturday morning cartoons. For me, it's just more nostalgia more than anything. But story, as goofy as it is, sometimes those first 2 seasons, I think, in my opinion, it's just great. It's fun. It's in a day where we're just so consumed with all kinds of things all over the place. Like, it was just a simpler time, I guess. So nostalgia, I think, plays a big part in that, right? So yeah, I think, like I said, lightning in a bottle, the right formula of things, and just boom, it just flash burned in everybody's memories, and we just can't get it out.
Yeah. I agree. And I just realized I didn't say when I was introduced to it, so I'm gonna, which I often do. I often skip over myself, so I'm gonna answer that before I answer the next one. But I actually was introduced into the cartoons, but I think I became a real big fan was when the Turtles released, because it came out right around the same time as my birthday, like within a week or two of when my birthday is. So that was like my whole birthday thing. My dad dressed up as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And I even remember later, growing up later, being not like asking at one time, hey, why wasn't Dad at this birthday party? It's because he was dressed as the turtle, and I didn't know it. So that was probably like the big thing. That's what the movie really hooked me, because I love the cartoon, but I was starting to, getting ready to become a teenager soon, and like the movie really like, hit me in a different way. So the first
you're
movie,
talking the live action movie. Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry, the live action movie. Yeah, the 1990 live action movie was really. I mean, I watched the cartoon before that, but like that's what made me a fan. But the movie was really when I really became a fan of it and knew I was going to be a fan of it for many, many years. I wasn't going to grow out of it.
Oh, I
I'm
wore
almost
that tape
positive
out.
that was the first movie I saw in theaters.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think I agree with Chavo why it lasted so long. I think they're doing a good job at kind of reinventing it a little bit, like the new one that's for kids, like the Mutant Mayhem. Like that's not necessarily something that I'm going to be a big fan of, but I love that it's getting the next generation interested in the Turtles. So I think they do a good job at kind of like sticking to the story, but like they have a way of reinventing themselves without, ticking off the fan base. Like the way Marvel fans and DC, the way other fan bases do get mad when you change something. Turtles are able to change a little bit, and people don't get so crazy about it. CranderQ, what about you? Why do you think it's lasted so long?
I think just the reinventing, like you said, constantly, I feel like the toys are a big part in why the popularity is so big, because they can do so many things with them. Same with like the wrestlers, we always go back to wrestling here. They're reinventing themselves, or they're coming up with something else. Like, in the early days with the Ninja Turtles, you had them doing basketball, then you had them as monsters, and then when that next wave of, like, say 95, 96, when we're moving on to other things, they're rehashing that out. So that way, like you said, they can grab the other kids as they're coming about. Like when the newest one just came out, Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
They came out with a set where they were dressed up, like Spock, the Hawaiian, the astronaut, because it's appealing to those new kids, but it's also like, hey, collectors, I know you had these as kids. Here's the new wave. With that old nostalgia. And I thought that was very smart that they did that right from the get-go, because then it's just like, all right, we know we have the doubters, but we're going to pull them in with just this little subtle thing to get them to collect, so.
Actually, the TMNT cartoon movie that was made in, 2003 or 4 or something like that, like the end scene of that, when they kind of brought everything that had been made Turtles up into that point. Like they had references to to all the variations of the cartoons. They had the scepter from Turtles 3, Shredder's helmet from the Turtles 1 and 2. Like that scene at the end of TMNT was really got me. Like I love the movie anyway, but that was that was my favorite scene. Like giving us all the fans something. Saul, what about you? Why do you think it's lasted so long?
All right, I'm actually going to hit a different one than everybody else did. I think it's lasted so long because of the group dynamic. I think, especially from a guy's perspective, you can find one of those four to identify with. You're either the leader, you're the party guy, you're the rebel, or the nerd. And that's pretty much how everyone sees themselves. And it's, again, with you guys with the adaptability, it's been so... They got the new one for the kids, but has anybody else read The Last Ronin? Absolutely not for children.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it
goodness.
yet, but
Yeah, now they're making that a movie because of the popularity coming full screen again.
Is it official? Is it official? Like I keep hearing rumor.
Well, I thought they greenlighted it through
I think so
WB.
too.
So.
I also saw that they're trying to get the original April from the first Turtles movie.
Yes, that's what I saw too. They want Judith Hogue.
Okay, did everybody get to answer why it's lasted so long? I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Did everybody get to answer that?
Yeah, I think it would be the adaptability and the able to identify with one of them.
All right, then since you brought up The Last Ronin, let's move to that.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? What are your guys' thoughts on Mikey being the last Ronin? Saul, we'll let you go first since you're also very hyped about it. Go ahead. What do you think of Mikey?
Spoiler alert for one. Good Lord. Probably should have warned people on that.
What?
On who the last Ronin is.
Oh, it's been out long enough.
Hey, spoiler alert. Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
It's been out for a while.
Right. Spoiler alert: Bruce Willis didn't die on Armageddon.
Yeah. Spoiler
I
alert.
thought that was the Sixth Sense.
That's been long enough.
But anyway,
honestly,
what are your thoughts on Mikey being the last Ronin?
so up until the point where they reveal that it's Mikey, I thought it was Raph, but it totally makes sense character arc wise for Mikey to be the one that survives because he has to grow up and go
That's
bloodthirsty vengeance mode.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go next because I agree with you. I think, at first I was thinking about who could it be, and Leonardo didn't make sense. Donatello didn't make much sense. I was thinking maybe Raph because they've done some stuff with him before, going solo, but I wasn't sure. And when I heard it was Mikey, I'm actually like, wow, like that's probably the best choice that you could have chosen. And I'm going to throw it to CranderQ in just a second, but he's late and he's fashionably late, but here he is.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Joe Monroe show. Joe Monroe.
Third best beard in the room now.
Yeah. And I got to represent the Turtles today. So I think Commander knew the assignment.
Chavo, your masculinity is not tied to your beard, right?
I have a beard.
Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure there's
oh my goodness.
Just want to make sure there's at least one other person whose masculinity is not tied to the length of their beard in this podcast. That's all.
It's rough.
Oh, it's going down the rest of the night.
Lines have been drawn.
All right, CranderQ, what are your thoughts on Mikey being the last Ronin?
I mean, one of the key words you said, right? Like, wow. And I don't think a lot of people are going to say they knew it was going to be Mikey, but if you took a poll, he would probably be the last one everybody picked because, Leo, he's obviously the leader, Raph, rightfully so, the leader, those would have been my first two picks. And when I found out, I was like, oh, Swerve, great pick, because, like Saul said, it's showing that maturity. It's showing that growth in his character, So I thought that was kind of cool, because everybody picks Leo. A lot of people pick Raph, and I didn't see it coming, but I like the way they did it,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Joe, you're going to go last. Chavo, let's go to you. What are your thoughts on Mikey being the last Ronin?
Well, first of all, I've never read The Last Ronin, so thanks, JD.
got him.
No, I'm kidding.
Well,
I don't even care about spoilers, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't ruin anything about the comic book, just that Mikey's the last Ronin. And how do you not? You have a social media. You're on social media. How do
True
you not
story.
know that?
It's like I didn't know that Bruce Willis was a ghost at the end of Sixth Sense. So thanks, Al. God damn.
He said Armageddon, by the way.
Before I watched the movie.
So again, don't have much context because I haven't read the book. But if you're going to get the most interesting character development, I think it made sense to go with Mikey. Because my first pick would have been Raph for sure. Like, oh, who's got the grit and the attitude to survive something like that? Because I don't know the circumstances on why the turtles all died, but I would assume that Raph would put up a damn fight to the end. So
exactly.
But story-wise, giving Mikey that responsibility, I think you're going to get a lot more character development, a lot more of an arc from like you've already mentioned, right? Party goer, pizza
Yeah.
dude, and he's like, I must avenge my brothers, right? Like,
That's
yeah.
quite
So
a turn.
that definitely makes me want to kind of go out and actually read the damn thing because I've seen it a lot of times on the bookshelves. I'm just like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to also get it because I yeah. As soon as they chose Mikey, I was in shock. I was like, wow, how could they choose Mikey? Wow, that's a great choice. They chose Mikey.
Yeah, like
Joe, what are your thoughts on Mikey being the last Ronin?
I personally think it's the perfect fit because if you stop and think about it, everybody in here basically said Raph would have been the obvious choice. If not Raph, it would have been Leo, then Donatello. But them to kind of swerve and be like, well, Mikey's the last one, he's the last Ronin. You know, it's a perfect story arc for Mikey because like this was the guy who was laid back, chilled of the group. He would have been basically that one friend that nobody would have expected to come out to be the smartest person in the room type of deal. But towards the end, he was the smartest person in the room and the strongest. I'm not going to spoil the end for people who have not seen it or have not read it, I should say. But the end of it is perfect as well. I'm sure. How many here has actually read The Last Ronin?
No, I haven't.
Crander,
I read it.
I did the Wikipedia thing a while back, you know.
Oh, good night, Irene. That doesn't
I
count.
could not do
That's
that.
why
Well, it wasn't like available to like get,
Brother,
you know,
just
at
hit
the time.
the
Now
good
it's
night,
everywhere.
Irene.
You know, so
Yeah, that one I can't do. I will not go look it up or find out what happens. I will have to. I will either read it or wait for the movie. Or
I read it as it came out.
So Saul, you know what happens at the end. It's like a perfect ending.
Yes. Honestly, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's perfect. If you haven't read it, read it. But Mikey being the last Ronin, I absolutely love it.
I would say of all the comic books I've read, that solo series, just The Last Ronin, that is some of the best character progression I've ever seen.
I agree.
Just because you know Mikey, he's the party dude. He's not the party dude.
Not anymore.
But it's like, it's Mikey, but he's fucking broken.
Yeah.
It's as if they took Mikey and turned him to Bruce Wayne, but turned Bruce Wayne's story arc to like an 11.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, if you're going to represent the brotherly love, I think Mikey's that glue, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that, when it comes from that relationship or the brotherhood of them, just, I mean, so I feel like he's holding a lot, you know, in this metaphorical cup, like, you know, he had his brothers kind of, you know, like, I don't know if y'all seen the Iron Claw, right? I used to be a brother. Like, I definitely was like, oh, like, I don't have any brothers, but that one hit me in the gut. I'm just like, wow, but he's not a brother anymore.
Yeah, I have two brothers, dude. And watching that movie unfold, man, that was something, dude. I can't believe it. Like how the last one was able to just continue to carry on, man. It was crazy. Kevin, right? Kevin was the last one.
Yep.
Yeah. So how he managed to carry on is crazy. I don't know how he did. Just like it's the same thing with Michelangelo, you know, being the last Ronin. How does he find the strength to carry on after losing all of his brothers? That's the most. I can't wait to see it, read it, all of it.
Zac Efron is Mikey in the upcoming Ronin movie? What?
No, please no. Please no.
I hear Bruce Willis is in it.
No, not Bruce Willis either. All right.
I don't know if he's alive or dead. I can't confirm.
I'm pretty sure he's like in between state at this point.
He's playing Splinter, I heard. I mean, he's about that age.
Brutal.
I love Bruce Willis, but lately, man,
in a Splinter.
All those direct DVD movies, man, like just protect your legacy.
Everybody needs a set of straight to DVD or straight to streaming movies. You get some residuals off of that. That's where the money's.
That's right.
Exactly.
That no joke, man. Like, we'll move on.
All right, let's talk about.
We'll go down a Steven Seagal rabbit hole. We don't want to go down that way. We're here for the turtles.
Oh, he can totally play the last Rowan. He's got martial arts skills.
You know, I just posted a meme called with Steven Seagal with seagull arms, calling him Steven Seagal.
I don't get
Well,
it.
that's the
Yikes.
dad joke of the century.
Yeah,
Good God.
All right.
I found it funny. I found it funny just because I'm not the biggest Steven Seagal fan anyway. Let's do some favorites. Who's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
And you got to say why.
All right, and you gotta say why. I'm gonna have to go with Raph because I've always liked the internal struggle of his temper versus what's right, and the way he reacts and the dynamic between Leonardo. Leonardo is a little bit smug sometimes. He's the leader, so the way he kind of challenged Leo all the time. I always kind of felt that a little bit, sided with that. So I'm gonna pick Raphael. Chavo, why don't you go next?
I was a sucker for Donatello. I was that kid that used to take all the batteries out of the remotes, take apart things like radios, and never put them back. Or maybe I did put them back in my own weird. They never worked again. So I related with Donatello with the whole machines and tinkering and being the scientist, inventor kind of guy. So I feel like just getting tied to that as a young little chavito, that never went away. So like that love for Donatello has always just been there, and the staff bowl. Come on, man. I mean,
Right.
You're right. He did have a nice weapon. I don't have a sound bite for.
Close enough.
I don't have a sound bite for Donatello, but I did get the sound bite for Raph there. Saul, what about you? Who's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
It was always Raphael. And so now
Good answer.
when I was a little kid growing up in New York, I loved that he was just like overly New Yorker compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, he definitely was.
They cracked me up.
Joe,
He
what about you?
definitely gives you
got
that. I'm
more,
walking
Saul, or
here
I don't wanna cut
vibes.
anybody
The
off, sorry.
Jose Canseco bat?
I didn't pay money for that. Like, come on.
I don't have that sound, but I tried to find it, but I could not get it. I got this one though. I got this one.
God, I hate punkers.
Fire Father.
Especially bald ones with green makeup. Wear masks over ugly faces.
That's such a great scene.
The whole movie is so good.
Joe, who's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
I have to say Leonardo.
Of course you do.
Well,
All right, and you guys just proved my point about how somebody can find one of each to identify with. We picked somebody different. All four of them got picked.
well, it was a tie between. It's a tie between him and Michelangelo, but Leo, because he's kind of sort of the leader of the group, man, and
Kind of, sort of. In the theme song.
And I think each weapon of the turtles represents them in some special way. And with Leo, where he has the katanas, I think Splinter knew he had the patience to use them because he has the most lethal weapon out of all four turtles, if you stop and think about it. But Splinter knew he wouldn't, hurt or kill anybody. He has the most patient. He's the most patient one out of all of them. Raph, the least patient one, which is why he doesn't have the size, not really a lethal weapon. But with Leo, I think that's why, he's so patient. He has, he's probably the best example of a leader, to be honest with you. If anybody could be patient like Splinter in his teachings, which all four of them have Splinter's aspects in each of them, but I think closest one is Leo. So that's why I'm going to pick Leonardo.
And we do have a best weapon visual coming up, which since Joe Monroe let us, we'll do that next. But CranderQ, who's your favorite turtle?
Raph all day, cool but rude.
I was gonna say it's not Leo.
Yeah. I mean, and to touch on Joe's point, he brings up the weapons, like the size being the defensive weapon, to counter those attacks. The staff for Donnie to be creative, Michelangelo, the nunchucks, hardest thing to control, and he's just so wiry. Takes a lot of patience and control. But yeah, I always, with Raph, you know what I mean? I had the big brother. I always thought he was right. He still does. If you're listening to this, Scott, yeah, whatever.
He's right.
But what's that?
He's right.
Yeah, no, he's not. But I always kind of, same with being snarky and had the attitude, and I even got him tattooed on me. You can't really see it there, but Raph's my boy all day. So. And yeah, that line, like, a Jose Canseco bet? Like,
Tell me, you didn't.
I mean, as a kid, and then he gets, like, dumped in the trash can, like, just great. Like,
and honestly, one of the in the first movie, which we're gonna get to some movie stuff here in a couple minutes too, but Raph was my favorite character because I loved how he was out on his own. He needed to cool off, but then the foot jumped him. You know what I mean? And you get to see him kick the foot's ass by himself for several minutes of the movie. So
I don't even know how they knew it was him. He had the trench coat and hat on.
That fantastic disguise of a just plain
right?
brown.
Yeah.
Like Superman can't even pull that off.
Good Lord.
Come on.
I'll never
You
understand.
guys expect to beat me.
Yeah, they do really he gets his ass handed to him on that rooftop with all them foot soldiers.
Oh yeah, he gets his ass beat all the time.
Yeah, but it's like 40-1. That's usually what happens.
And I do like too to add, like, as it progressed too in the future, they started to give them their own like body styles. Whereas that first original run as a cartoon, copy and paste, change a little bit of the color,
The mask.
and then change the mask. In the toys, you can definitely see like Donnie's more brown. Raph and Mikey have a different green. Same with Leo. I thought that was, but then they started giving them more the body styles, which I thought was cool. So Raph was just huge, and Donnie's like the skinny jean, nerd. And then Mikey, he's more laid back with his style. I kind of like that as it progressed too. It gave them more character.
Yeah. I always liked how Raph was portrayed as a gangster with brass knuckles and bandanas.
Great street, baby.
Yeah, since Joe brought up the weapons, let's talk about the weapons for a minute. Which TMNT has the best weapon, or which is your favorite? Or if you'd like to just explain, like Joe explained, why he thinks Leo has the swords, or if you'd like to do something like that, then we can do that. But what is your favorite weapon or the best weapon? Chavo, let's go to you.
If I'm gonna do just a real simple answer, I'm just gonna say the bow staff, mainly because it helped me so much in the NES game.
It is a fantastic weapon for all of the video games. It doesn't matter. The reach on that bow staff is insane.
But also it just makes sense for Donatello's personality. I don't see him as someone that really wants to fight. It's kind of just part of his training, part of what he knows. And so it's really like you have that reach, so you can easily disarm people. Or I'd like to think, you keep that distance between you and your opponent. And it could be deadly. You get a nice whack to the head. I mean, that's going to rattle your brain a bit. It may not be the deadliest of the weapons, but I think it's the more versatile.
It's a
depending on
weapon, if I could.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so like I said, if I want to go a little deeper on that, I think that would be my reason on why I feel like the bow staff is the best one. But like I said, honestly, just because I have so many fond memories of letting it, getting me to that level 2 at the NES game that I never surpassed. That bow staff was just awesome, and honestly, it just looks cool.
Yeah, and the reach on it is hella great. Saul, what about you? What's your favorite weapon?
I mean, my favorite weapon, and I got to imagine we all had the same experience of being 13 years old with a set of nunchucks we bought at the county fair. And we all loved that until we hit ourselves in the knee and elbow, and we were done with that.
And our giblets.
Saul, I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm in a wheelchair. So while I did have
I'm out of here.
Nunchucks for
another spoiler.
That was gonna be the final reveal.
Another day.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is our last Mayhem Media appearance.
We've been canceled. Have a good day.
It's been fun. No,
Clark's going to be leading the charge here from now on. Great.
If you want me to come over with a set of nunchucks and hit you in the knees and elbows, you won't feel it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I had interest in the nunchucks, but that interest went away very quickly when I realized that was not the weapon for me. So you're right. I believe everybody had the interest in the nunchucks, but no, I didn't really have my own set.
There's your clip.
So, would you like to follow up, Saul, or should we go to Joe for a moment?
don't think he's a
Go
dog.
to Joe with the weather.
Wait,
It's hot.
Hot answer. Good answer.
Oh man. Favorite weapon will still have to be Leo's. I had to still say Leo's katanas, because
I'm
it takes a
trying.
lot of patience not to kill anybody. Literally, that's my reason. I mean, as I said,
And
mostly-
swords are badass, you know.
yeah, those katanas
Yeah.
are. I mean, short. I
sword.
mean, look at Deadpool. I mean, come on.
So the fact that he has two,
Yeah,
I don't think
also,
the
right?
sword is
Like,
what makes
I don't just
Deadpool
have one;
cool.
I've got two.
Yeah.
yeah. I know the katanas don't really make Deadpool cool, but still, you got to think.
You got one though.
Look how he uses them, and look how Leo uses them. That's what I'm trying to say here.
The versatility.
Exactly. Deadpool's like on the other end of the spectrum here, and while Leo's like way over here. Like I don't want to kill anybody. Deadpool, forget that. That's why I use them for.
Right? Why else would I have a katana?
Exactly. Well, why else would I have two katanas?
Yeah.
Bad
But
guy kebabs.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely katanas. Now over to CranderQ, who is the second place spirit at the
Yeah. CranderQ, before you go.
California roll.
Little California
Oh,
roll there.
Good old Feldman's voice.
Yeah, I know, right? Like how many people don't know that, but he's perfect for Donatello. I'd love for them to get him back when they do
And-
another movie.
I never thought you would use Corey Feldman and Perfect in the same sentence.
Hey, he's doing what he loves. Okay.
No
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah. I like Corey Feldman, man. Like,
I haven't met the guy. I heard he's
yeah, it's hot and cold.
Hey, when you're a childhood actor, most of them have some rough periods in their life. So.
He's been saying some stuff since the 90s that turned out to suddenly be true. So
Yeah, that too.
kind of got to feel for the kid.
That's for the Boiling Point podcast, our sister show. So let's take that for a conversation over there. CranderQ, where were we? What were we talking about? Your favorite weapon and why?
All of them. I mean, they're all cool. I mean,
such an obvious
if,
answer.
if I'm gonna pick one though, like it's got to be nunchucks because like Saul said, the sides are cool, but
Yeah.
I got to go with Mikey's. There.
All right, and the nunchucks. So yeah, a lot of people choosing the nunchucks. I'm not going to pick the nunchucks. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to pick. Honestly, it was the swords for me. Really, that's where it was. I mean, I like the bow, but I wasn't really a bow guy either. It was definitely the swords and Raphael's size. I like those. And I like how they all have their own. Go ahead, Saul.
I said, I like how the coolest part of the bow is you can just go pull one off a tree out back, and now you have one too. Hey,
Yeah,
check this
yeah.
out.
Definitely the easiest weapon to grab. Hey, you know what? That same branch that's your bow, I can use as Leo's sword too.
Yeah. Nice.
Got me a stick.
Saul went full caveman.
Yeah, we better watch it. He might go Lord of the Flies here in just a moment. So
I love how earlier CranderQ was talking about how the Psy with Ralph, or they're more defensive weapons. And the first thing I thought about was most people that are angry or have that rage usually react defenseless. They get defensive when you I guess confront them or whatever. And it just made me think, how cool is it that I know what is it, Mike Eastman and Laird?
Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird.
Kevin Eastman, sorry. They made it as a joke, and then they had that first issue. But I know they weren't really, or I don't want to say I know. In my opinion, I would think they didn't really go deep into the lore at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But 35 years later, we're able to pull so much from just a basic concept of 4 turtles with weapons, and they're silly.
Right.
And I mind you, that first issue, I think I've read a reprint of it because it had color, right? The original wasn't.
The original color was in black and white, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So it's a reissue. I read some of it, and there is a lot of story there, a lot of good story. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing how we can just get these characters and pull so much out of it now, 35 years later. I mean, it kind of goes back to that original question. I think Joe wasn't. I don't know if you were around for that one, but kind of what makes the Turtles so popular, why they still around for so long, and yeah, man. Like we mentioned, we all relate to it. But yeah, man, being able to pull all that story from it, just from being fans. I mean, I think I'd love any property that a fan can interact with that or take that much out of it. I think it's gonna have that longevity, and it's just cool.
Yeah, and as we just discussed, going over some favorites there, that there's so many things that so many different people can find and relate to about the Turtles. They did such a good job at making it so diverse with their personalities and their their little quirks and their strengths and their weaknesses. Like it there's really something for everybody. You can find somebody can relate to one of the Turtles.
And I think they did such a good job of branching out from different forms of media. It's like you got comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, vanilla. You guys remember the green shell vanilla puddings? Or the like pudding pies? Oh my God. They were doing it all. There was Ninja Turtles, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like with Mutant Mayhem when that came out, they were doing cereal, cupcakes, mac and cheese, candy bars. Just brand. I wanted to buy a box of the cereal just to put on the shelf. But
I was just at Mall of America the other day. I had sent a picture to our group chat. They were doing the TMNT celebration.
Yeah,
and they had the big statues of all four of them out, but the lines were so long.
I got to pause you there quick on the Mall of America. Have you seen the videos of the girl that spins that? The Queen of, what is it? Shell Shock is the name of it. She rides it like every day almost, and she just spins. I'll have to find it. She's on that ride every day. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, hats off to her. I would throw up after like 2 spins. So, shout out to the Queen of Shell Shock there. So
it is strange to see an entire theme park inside and realize that there is an entire mall around it.
Yep.
That's how bad Minnesota
better
sucks.
Can Snoopy though. Better Can Snoopy.
Don't
These guys probably have no idea what we're talking about. Chavo probably does, but
I was like,
he doesn't look very interesting.
I'm still a transplant, so I moved to Minnesota 5 years ago. So I've been here 5 years. I'm originally born and raised in Chicago.
Oh, I'm from New York originally, but I've been here most of my life. Minnesota, that is.
Jeez, bunch of
I'm gonna
fake
segue
Minnesotians.
Yeah.
I'm gonna segue into the next visual. Who is your favorite TMNT villain? Crander, let's go with you first.
Yeah, let's start out with that graphic. How many times did I mess that graphic up? Because I kept putting the wrong guy on there. I just like Craig, and I just like his voice. He was always just fun to. Craig, yeah. What I say, Craig?
Shredder.
Yeah. I loved it. And then I'm a huge Rocksteady and Bebop. Those guys are cool too. I mean, Rhino and a Warthog, like those three, the originals. Those were the ones for me. I always like those guys. So,
absolutely, Joe. What about you?
Favorite villain would have to be, obvious Shredder. He's the ultimate one.
I feel like Shredder's the obvious answer.
I know Shredder's the obvious answer,
but stole my pick too. I'm gonna have to come up with someone different.
But
redhead in the first movie.
But
all right, let's all. So you have more?
Yeah. So let's look at it. I mean, who's been the closest to destroying the Turtles single-handedly?
I mean, I agree with you, Joe. Definitely, I'm on your side on this.
The
one.
Shred Head.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Toka, Razor. I mean, come on.
Yeah, those would probably be in the list of worst villains right there.
They would have been great in the cartoon, but
yeah,
I watched the Ninja Rap and didn't dance.
Yeah.
I mean, that voice. The voice is. Mama.
You know what? I didn't get the Ninja Rap either. Joe, you do that too well. You do that too well, Joe. Seriously.
Well, I didn't have friends growing up. All I had was a TV.
Saul, you
no comment.
Saul, you go with your next villain, and then Chavo, after he's done, you go. I have to turn on some lights in my house before I end up in complete darkness. So I'm going to step away for just a moment.
Hello, darkness, my old. Can't finish that. It's going to go on YouTube.
Now, and we'll stop there. I'd have to say my favorite villain was definitely Slash, especially when you come across him in what is it, Turtles 4 on Super Nintendo there? Where
Turtles
he's
in
just
Time.
beating you to death in the, yeah. He is by far the hardest boss in that game. For no reason, halfway through the game, here you go. Lose all your lives.
I can't get
That's a great action figure too that he had.
Yeah.
I want to get like one that's not broken. Yeah.
I want to get one that's not broken. Good luck.
Well, I'm missing one of the hands. I got some hand-me-down ones from a buddy that cleaned out his storage stuff.
Nice.
It's missing a hand, so I gotta,
Hey, those are the best figures you can get, dude.
Now you already know the Vader story there. I mean, but
I'm still looking, Crander. I promise. I will find you a Vader.
take forever. Oh, you're my favorite villain today.
I'm always your favorite villain. Shut up. All right, Chavo. Sorry. Your
Oh,
turn.
good. I'd
Now he's
say.
the host, everybody.
Well, I was gonna say Krang. Just really just because of the voice. Honestly, I love that cartoon version. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say Super Shredder, mainly because Kevin Nash played Super Shredder in what is it, Secret of the Ooze?
Yep.
So like I already liked Super Shredder. I was like, oh, this guy is cool. He's just like freaking bulk. And then many decades later, I'm like, holy moly, that was Kevin freaking Nash, big sexy. All right.
You know, he has gone on record and saying that's his favorite figure to sign.
Nice.
Yeah, everybody's doing that now. Yep.
That would be a cool figure to sign.
That
But I'd say I'm just gonna go ahead and cheat and say also add what's the robot one that comes out in part 2? Is it part 2? Where you go sewer surfing, or is that that's Turtles in Time too, right?
Metalhead.
Yeah, that's a great figure too.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Metalhead.
pretty.
I couldn't think of his name. I was like, no, I know this.
Yeah, I didn't even know his name, but I used to hate fighting him because I was like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, thank goodness for again emulators, even like the Switch, you can power up to 100 lives. It's like suckers.
You're right. You lose.
Was the panda and the rabbit, were they started as villains then became friends?
I think so. Yes.
I always like those figures too, just because like.
I can't think of who the panda is, but the
I
rabbit
was
not like a villain, but they were like they fought each other. You know, they were on the same side but didn't realize it, kind of a thing at first, if I'm not mistaken. And if everybody went, then it's my turn. I'm going to say Shredder, but I'm going to narrow my pick of Shredder. I'm going to say the 1990 live action Shredder, the one who kicked the turtle's ass through the whole end of the movie, and then Shredder had
a real scene where Raph gets his ass kicked.
So
he does too.
It's how often do you see the heroes, the main guys, lose to the main villain? You don't normally see that. You almost never see that stuff.
No.
You know what I mean? So I thought the fact that the Turtles just were losing the fight until Splinter got involved. That's what I loved about it. I was like, man, Shredder's that good that the Turtles cannot, even collectively together, cannot take him.
But then
how do you like show up at work the next day and tell everybody you got your ass kicked by a giant rat? Like, I mean,
I'm pretty sure he ended up in the trash can, and
he did.
Yeah, I don't know, Saul. I mean, is the story like a giant rat in New York common around there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty common in New York, isn't it?
I've seen it.
I was just saying, you don't even have to live in New York to see him. You just got to look. Yeah, that's not a myth, nor is the sewer gators. I mean, that's a myth, but people really talk about it.
Oh, what is his name in the cartoon?
Leatherhead.
Yeah, that was another cool figure. That's the beautiful thing about those toys, man. Just so many cool, like, secondary characters for sure. Yeah.
I think that's another thing to help with the popularity there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that. Did any of you guys have collections, or other than the original video game, did you play any of the games? Because I think we've established that we've all hated, but
played
loved
every one of the games.
Yeah, I've played them all in some capacity, but
same. So have I. Chavo?
Obviously, you can see I collect stuff, so you don't have to ask me.
Yeah, the only thing I haven't played, I think, is that not the Kawabunga collection, but there's another one that came out where it's like it's a brand new story, but it's in the style of
Shredder
Super
something.
NES.
Yeah,
Shredder's
Revenge.
There it
on
is.
my Xbox, but I haven't gotten to play it yet.
Okay, yeah, I haven't played that yet, but I definitely have it on my my Switch cart. As soon as I want to drop $35 on a game that I'll probably play once.
It's on.
I'll go ahead and do so.
It's on Game Pass. Yeah, you can get it for free right now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, if you got an Xbox, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but definitely had a lot of the toys, secondhand toys. We used to go to the thrift store all the time, so we'd have those random plastic bags with all the random toys. So it's kind of a mixed bag of which turtles you'd get. Yeah, so definitely collected a lot of that. And really, yeah, my biggest connection though was definitely as much as I got introduced to the video game and the TV show. And I think was it Sal or maybe Joe that mentioned this, where it was the movie that hooked me. Once I got a hold of that movie, especially when I got the cassette tape, even watching that first 2-minute Pizza Hut commercial of the kids, you missed. Oh, I missed the ball. It's okay. We'll go have pizza. You know, like,
right?
and then the movie. So like my there's a huge just nostalgia attached to that movie. That even after the years, like I said, I did watch some of the cartoons. The live action cartoon with the Power Rangers crossover. I kind of
saw, I forgot about that.
But I wasn't like super hardcore fan at that point. Even now, I won't say like I'm a super hardcore fan. It's just so part of my childhood, and that even for this podcast, I was like, you know what? Let me go do some research. There's a lot of good videos of like some of the history of it that I didn't even know about, and I was like, wow, this goes beyond what I thought was just TMNT. That was just been kind of a presence in my whole life. But yeah, man, I freaking love it, and the video games too, for sure. Like, so frustratingly amazing, I guess is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Let's talk about Shredder and Splinter for a moment.
Just skip over me, thanks, boss.
Sure, Joe. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. I apologize.
No, screw you, man. I'm leaving.
Go ahead. That's my bad. I told you guys to speak up.
Well, maybe you would showed up on time.
Well, you know what? I was listening to Family Crander. Shut up.
Shots fired.
JD would never do that to you.
Actually, with Crander, it's more like bleep bleep. But that's hearsay.
Zap.
So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I played the original NES video games growing up, and my favorite figures. I had the whenever the cartoon came out in the mid 2000s. I had the van. I had every villain. I had all the turtles. I had Splinter. I wish I still had them today because that would be awesome. But my favorite figures are the WWE line, especially this one because it's Piper and it's Michelangelo. I mean, come on, who else to represent Piper's attitude?
That's
honestly,
hilarious.
it should have been Raph. But,
yeah.
But I think Mikey, where Piper was actually very, dare I say, playful in a way, was very sarcastic. Yeah, that's Michelangelo. But yeah, I collected the toys growing up. But like Chavo and Saul said, it was the movie that got me hooked into it. It's so who is it? Is it NECA that came out with the figures now? It's so hard not to buy those because they're so detailed and awesome. But I know my wife would kill me if I spend.
Just buy your books, bro. Buy your books.
That's what I do. This woman has almost 500 books.
That's not 600 books.
Shut up, Saul.
Let's all send her books.
Don't you do it.
I got his address.
I hear her yelling. Yeah, I just heard her yelling.
I heard a yes, please.
Yeah, no, you don't need no more books.
All right, books are coming in. Tell her.
What?
Blasphemy.
You can never have enough books.
What if it's a book, but when you open it up, there's an action figure in it?
That would be amazing.
With all the pages missing.
Hey, that would be a great Last Ronin figure. Have the box, the cover of the comic book. Then when you open it up like a book, it's the figure itself. God, that would actually be
he just threw millions of dollars out to the internet. There goes our money.
Yep,
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
We're all struggling artists here, and then you ruined it.
You just made millions of dollars for somebody, Joe. Congratulations.
Well, we can do it for Mayhem Media stuff with just our figures if people will buy them. I don't know if they will.
And then we
throw your figure in the trash.
Listen, man, in Mayhem Media, we walk the line, the finest line we can between copyright infringement and not copyright infringement. All right. Chavo even hit me up. He wanted to have the Turtles cartoon playing on his TV in the background there. And I'm like, dude, the problem is that YouTube's probably going to nail us if that happens because they don't even like Into the Barricade because we use flashes of the wrestling in our entrance. They already hammered us. They already hammered Saul's show on YouTube because we.
I think it has more to do with Saul.
Yeah, I agree. I said the same thing, but nobody listens to me. He's like, no,
I'm
no,
just
it was
taking
the
shots.
entrance.
I don't
No, it wasn't Saul's fault. It was that crazy Brick Connor Clark, whatever his name is.
Honestly, it could
God,
be any of them on that show. It could be Frankie too.
could because he's from the UK, you know.
Yeah, it's Connor's fault.
Let's talk about Shredder and Splinter though. For me, I think Shredder's an excellent. Like I said, I think he's an excellent villain. I think he's always so formidable against the Turtles that usually need Splinter in order to actually defeat him when it comes to like a physical confrontation. And I think Splinter's a great teacher, wise master who punishes them. I love that in Turtles 2. They had to do backflips when they did something wrong. So like I like that Splinter was, strict and a real, teacher to him. So those are my thoughts. Chavo?
I like the fact that, so I mean, I guess it depends on what story you're going with, because if I remember correctly, the original, now mind you, thank God for YouTube giving me some history here, but if I remember correctly, for those of you who's actually read the comic books, the original comic book, he was a rat that mimicked his master, and then eventually when they moved out to New York and Shredder killed them, he was already a kung fu master, but then the ooze transformed him into a rat. Right, or a giant mutated rat.
Yeah, yeah.
Where in the cartoon, I know for sure the cartoon, because I remember watching these, is he was the master that had that rivalry with Splinter, was human, but then got turned into a rat because it was the last thing he touched or something, right? Or
the thing he spent the most time around.
Yeah. So depending on what story you want to go with, I would go with the original, just because
Me too.
And I don't know if I'm using this word correctly, because I just scolded somebody about using it. How ironic is it that you go out of your way to kill your foe, the person that stole your girl, that shamed you at the dojo or whatever, only for his mutated rat to carry on his legacy and essentially put together a group of 4 folks that can actually stop him and foil his plans all the time. It's not his master, it's his legacy that lives within Splinter, and that's that's always stopping him from whatever his goal was, which is whether it's taking over the world or whatever Krang is telling him to do that day. So I just feel like that with that story is just so awesome. Like that's what you get, Shredder. I mean, he's an awesome villain, like you mentioned, for sure, but just the fact that it's the rat. Karma coming back to him, just like, sucker.
I agree with you. And you actually, the Turtles are actually like the 3rd generation technically from the Master, because the Master taught Splinter taught the Turtles. You always forget about that part because of the cartoon. It's the Master who gets turned into the rat. But in the movies and in the actual storyline, it's the rat. The rat is actually the 2nd generation from his master, who then teaches the Turtles, who are the 3rd generation. In terms of their skill. Saul?
All right, I got one for you guys that you might not have known, actually. I believe it's canon, like logic for real. The same accident that spilled the ooze into the sewers to mutate the Turtles is also the same accident that blinded Daredevil.
Interesting.
If no one knew that.
I did not know that.
Yes.
I never heard that connection before.
I
believe the creators were big fans of Frank Miller's work at the time.
I definitely didn't know that. That's cool.
Interesting.
I think it was on. There's a Toys Who Built America or something like that. They did a whole Ninja Turtles episode on.
Yeah, they did. They had one on Legos, on Power Rangers. Yep.
Oh, the Toys That Made Us. That's the name.
Toys That Made Us.
Toys That Made Us. That's what it was. I was like, I can't remember what it was. Something like that. Yeah, that was.
There's a podcast out there about collectibles.
Boo! Sorry. Yay!
Shout out CranderQ, and I'm going to give you one last shout out, CranderQ, for the show me the collectibles. But if you don't have me on, you're not getting any more.
Yeah, that show got canceled. I heard the host was a jerk.
Yeah, well, CranderQ, you gotta stop blackballing me. I don't know why, but CranderQ doesn't like Mayhem anymore. He doesn't want to have me on. He's blackballing me.
It's
no, I want you to do all the work. I'm sick of doing all the work.
It's because you hired me, boss. That's why.
Oh,
second rate.
Well, that's too bad. Well, hey, I tried to hire you first, CranderQ. You told me no.
I don't remember
that. Where were we? Were we on something?
Joe's turn.
Yeah,
Shredder.
Shredder.
Shredder and Splinter. Joe, what are your thoughts on Shredder and Splinter?
Probably one of the most greatest and underrated story arcs in not only not only in like film history, but also in comic history. I mean, this is to a T, one of the biggest rivals ever. And I think it's just a little bit underappreciated. It's such a simple story. It's a simple kung fu story, still a martial arts story. But I think personally, to me, it's overlooked in a way, especially how I don't know how the heck they're going to do it with this new movie that came out. My kids liked it. I personally didn't like it. The new cartoon movie that came out. I didn't like how they represented Splinter as a paranoid, almost schizophrenic type dad. I hated it so much. I'm like, this is not Splinter. Splinter would never do that. Splinter would be like, yeah, go ahead, you morons. Yeah, watch what happens. See, told you so. Told you so. Exactly. That's how, to me, Splinter is. But I think they ruined it. But
and you learn kung fu by watching Enter the Dragon like a million times.
Yeah, it's like, really?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to throw that.
No. It's like, really? Why?
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. If you haven't watched the new movie, there you go, folks. That's this generation Splinter. I'm like, no, my kids are watching the originals. But the original film and story arc, the original film and story arc, you can't go wrong. And Shredder is by far the ultimate villain, and Splinter is the ultimate hero. Because he's the guy that waits patiently until it's the right moment to strike, and then he destroyed Shredder. That's
I
agree
with that. CranderQ, what are your thoughts on Splinter and Shredder?
Make it short. Great rivalry. Shredder just looks so badass. And I got to bring it up before I forget. Like how many movies and cartoons back in that day did like the floppy disk have like all?
Oh my god, everything.
Yeah, but yeah, great. I'll just copy and paste what Joe said to keep us moving here. But I always thought Shredder was just so badass. With those sharp things. This is before I discovered X-Men, but yeah, I always thought he just was so cool. And just to finally get that action figure of his, that I never had as a kid. That's the first Shredder I ever got, so it's
nice.
I think he's badass. Yeah.
I'd say and no one else aside from Prince can rock purple the way the Shredder can.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'll give you that
shade of purple, man.
All right, let's favorite movie. Let's do favorite movie quick. We only got a couple more, and then one little bonus thing at the end. So let's talk about your favorite movie. For me, I'm going to pick the 1990s live action classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That Michael Bay abomination in the back there is.
Hey, that movie was decent. It's just not on the same level.
I'm going to let Chavo go first because I know he's going to be on my side.
Oh, it's Mutant Mayhem all day. Mutant Mayhem all day.
As long as you don't pick a Michael Bay movie, then I'm fine with it.
No, I'm just joking. I Mutant Mayhem actually was kind of like Joe said. My kid liked it, and I'm just like, I don't think it was bad, but it definitely wasn't. It was not a movie that was made for me. That's for sure. Which is kind of disappointing because I'd like to think I am in that generation of folks that because I've got disposable income. I'm in the demographic of like it was part of my childhood. Yeah, but whatever. So no, I'll agree with JD. I think the first one, the was it 1989, 1990?
1990 live action, I believe.
Yeah, the live action one I think it's just nostalgia, man, all day, every day. But not only that, but it's a great piece of filmmaking. I think the cinematography is awesome. The pacing. I'd take that back a little bit. I do feel like it loses a little bit after the fire, and they have to go to the farm. But they needed that, though.
No,
they needed that. But I feel like it loses me. That's probably the only part of the movie that loses me a little bit. But
see, I kind of like that because it's like I like how it's there's a build up, but then they lose, and the whole farm thing. Yeah, it's like a reset. It like resets your emotion. You're going back, but it puts you in the same boat they are. They've been defeated. Now they got to go back and rebuild themselves. And I like the farm scene, and especially them. meditating around the fire, to try and contact Splinter. I thought that was
I guess I'm still holding on to that childhood trauma where I'm just like, what is all this? I want all the action. I don't want none of this googly soft stuff.
Why are we feeling?
I know, right?
Well, I mean, as a kid, of course, I wanted to see, when they were beaten, when they were getting their butts kicked by the Foot, and then when they came back and they were, kicking the Foot's butt, I was like, yeah. But I love like all of the story in between, especially.
You needed that. You needed a little breather. You can't have action 100% of the time. Then you have a Michael Bay film on your hands.
Yes, and that's an abomination. Saul, what about you? What's your favorite movie? Or unless you got more, Chavo. You got more.
No, I was going to say that 1990 all day.
Yep. Saul, what about you?
1990 all day. First movie I ever saw in theaters. I'm still not sure, but I am almost positive. And I know for a fact I was bribed at the doctor to be good for getting a shot, and we could go see the Ninja Turtles movie. And I didn't
Nice.
Best deal ever made.
Right?
But he got the shot, folks. Spoiler, he got the shot.
He wouldn't be here today if he didn't get the shot.
I might have polio or something.
Joe Monroe, what's your favorite movie?
I can't break it down between the two. I mean, I love the first two films of the original films. Yes, I like Secret of the Ooze. I thought that was a pretty decent follow up from the first movie. So I can't really, break the two apart. So yeah, first two films definitely. It's actually they're both in my top 5 films of all time. My number one I will not say, but definitely.
Are you embarrassed by it? Why won't you say it?
Shut up, Crander. It's the first one. The second one's kind of a tie for me because those two I remember. Aside from my favorite film of all time, I watched constantly as a kid. I absolutely loved it. The third one of that series, where they go back.
That's my favorite.
Well, that explains a lot about you, Crander.
I would say the best thing about number 3 was, I think, and there was one thing. I think Leo's sword fight with the head Japanese guy. Like you don't
the Shogun.
Leo, you don't get a straight one-on-one sword fight with Leo very often. So
That's
while it was certainly not the best sword fight I've ever seen in a movie, it was cool to see Leo, put one of his swords away and fight with one sword against somebody else in a legitimate sword fight. That was pretty cool.
And also,
which is actually quite surprising, the fact that at that point, the studio was like, "Wait, can you not feature their weapons at all?" And it's like, wait, what?
No.
Like the one thing I will give Secret of the Ooze, even as probably not my favorite, I do love that movie, but they did something better than what Batman Forever tried to do, which was part 1 was super dark, and then the studio's like, hey, we need to kind of sell some more toys here. We need to lighten it up a little bit. And I feel like the transition between 1 and 2 still felt like that same universe. You were still in that same universe, even though it was a little more lighthearted, a little more campy. But going from Batman Returns to Batman Forever, though, that jump was like day and night. Like, okay, now we know you're just trying to sell Batmobiles and freaking, McDonald's frosted cups, which I did have, by the way. But I think
we all did.
I think 1 and 2 with the Turtles universe did a way more job at that tonal shift than Batman Forever did with Returns.
CranderQ, what was your favorite Turtles movie?
Also, definitely the first one.
I got to say my favorite
but
quote.
I mean, when it comes to animated, that TMNT one they had.
Yep,
that one is visually. I love that. Like,
that's my.
I watch that one still to this day. Like, but the original number 1 all day.
I snoozed on that one when that first came out.
I got to see it like 2 weeks before in Hawaii, and
honestly, it feels a little rushed. I wouldn't have minded it being a little bit longer.
I like that one
movie. I wish it was. I think they could have easily added another 20 minutes or so. I think it was a little bit fast, but it was great. I love everything about TMNT as well.
And one of the only
Turtles.
One of the only things that I mean, I like the Michael Bay movies just because they're different, blah, blah, blah.
All right, you're fired.
But like, one thing I did like about that first one that they did was I actually enjoyed Johnny Knoxville as Leo. And like, Matt, I like Corey Feldman, as Donnie. Like, I thought those were really good voices,
The first ones, yeah.
And with Mutant, the newest one, I like the way they did the voices. They had the kids do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that gave it something different. And with that movie, I liked it. Would I say it's one of the best? Probably not. But they each have their own little quality, and I would have loved if they would have got like the original voice cast to just even do like a scene, somewhere along the lines in this, TMT, movie arcs or something, just one last time for everybody.
Yeah. All right, I have good ones left. I know we've been going a while here, and as long as you guys are okay with it, I have some good ones coming up yet. I should have did this for the other way around and made the good ones first, but I did not do that. Honestly, I thought some of the other ones were going to be a little quicker. But so let's go into Jenica.
Sorry, I'm a talker.
Jenica,
Talk too much.
Jenica, yeah, everybody here talks too much, except for you, Chavo. You're the only one that's kept quiet. I'm like having to throw it to you and be like, talk. No, just
I'm picking, choosing my battles here. That and I just love the beef down below me here. I'm just gonna go and instigate that from now on.
Yeah.
Is he calling us fat?
The bottom row here. I guess so. The bottom row
down
here.
there.
Yeah.
Well, we know what the next match is.
The battle
2-on-1 handicap match. CranderQ versus
Let's go. I'll call
Yeah.
Midwest All Star Wrestling right now. Get that.
I'll ring announce it. Oh, no, they got a good ring announcer.
Yeah, please bring him Messias with his no sleeve sweatshirts, please.
All right, so Jenica, the fifth turtle. Do we acknowledge her? I'm going to say yes. I thought the Turtles had needed a female character for like a long time, even way back in the 1990s cartoon. I think they've needed a female turtle for a long time. So I'm going to say yes, let Jenica be a turtle, and yes, let's include her as, one of the turtles from now on. Chavo?
I mean, it brings some fresh air into it,
Yeah, I don't know
all I
much
gotta
about Jenica. I remember that in the the early 2000s live action on Fox they had, but I think that was her cousin, right? I don't think that was because Jenica's the sister, if I remember correctly.
That live action show we don't speak of. That was terrible.
Hey, come
Oh
on,
my
man! They had a
goodness, I
Power Rangers
forgot.
team up. How do you...
I blanked that out. I forgot that show even existed until you just mentioned it. Holy
It
cow.
was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But I know,
Thanks for bringing back trauma.
but I'm pretty sure that the female character they introduced was their cousin. It wasn't.
I think you're right.
But again, I don't know. Is Jenica their sister? Because I don't think I'm really familiar with that character. I recall the name, but
I guess more what I'm asking is whether it's Jenica or another female turtle, whether it's their cousin or their sister, do we acknowledge the female turtles? Like, that's what my proposal is. I think it's time we acknowledge one or two of the female turtles and get them, make them a little bit more in it. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I'd say me personally, you can acknowledge them, but the core, what makes the turtles is the four brothers and the relationship with the brothers. Once you start introducing outside characters, I feel like you're either not trying hard enough to come up with a good story, because there's a lot of stories you can tell, even just within the dynamics of a brotherhood there, right? Like different conflict or whatever. When you start introducing more characters, I feel like they have to serve a purpose. You can't just introduce a character just for, we need a female character, or we need somebody new, or we need somebody. I feel they have to serve a purpose within whatever story you're trying to tell. So I haven't read anything with any of the Jenica, or I vaguely remember the live action TV series. But I would say you have to acknowledge them, because as much as I did just say, okay, the property is really male based. You do have now a lot of women that grew up watching these, and so or being part of the fan base, right? So it would be good to have them to kind of have something for them to also relate to, maybe.
Yeah.
But you can. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the things that they go through is not gender specific, aside from the brotherhood part, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have, every group of friends, female, male, whatever, has, like you said, the angry one, the nerdy one. The one that's always trying to be the leader, and then who am I missing? The party one. But I don't know. Maybe I made a point there somewhere.
Oh, well, we lost somebody. I was just about to say how I was going to be Splinter and then name each of you as the Turtles, but then we lost somebody.
No,
we got rid of Jenica.
I don't know who Leroy is, but he's commented something about the third place beard would lose.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who the third place beard is. That you, Saul?
It's got to be. Who else would it be? It ain't one of you two, that's for sure.
Yeah. We don't. Well, we also don't. Our masculinity is not tied to our beards. So me and Chavo.
Well, nobody's
Yeah, this is
my masculinity.
this is actually because of the lighting. There's actually I don't have
don't.
any hair.
It's
like
actually
that.
just
the
a shadow.
Yeah, it's just a shadow of the
I
lights.
thought it was a shadow.
Here's news for you. This is actually just coffee grounds and Elmer's glue.
As long as it's
He's
not
sweeping up
pubes.
dust one day and thought it was his mustache.
All right, let's see if we can. If anybody's watching, you feel free to get involved in any of these, especially this one. This is the one I expect to really turn up some discussion here. But who's the better leader? Who would be the better leader, Raphael or Leonardo? Who wants to go first?
Raph all day.
No.
You're Leo?
No, not at all. Oh, absolutely. Raph ain't got the patience to lead nothing.
Leo is so jealous of Raph.
He might
As
be.
much as I love Raph, it is
Yeah,
where
I'm
it's
the
supposed
same
to
way.
be. It's not like the Power Rangers where Jason and Tommy, this is rightfully so. Leo, like Saul said, Leo is rightfully the guy to lead the charge. He's got, he's mature. He's, he does more than just lead. He keeps, keeps everything in check, So, yeah, as much as I like to joke, Raph would be, kicking in doors and getting arrested faster than anybody on that team. So, yeah.
20 years ago, if Raph was the leader.
What's that?
We'd have got the last Ronin 20 years ago if Raph was the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we
go
wouldn't
off
have any
script.
vehicles if Mikey was in charge. Everything would be blown up.
I'm gonna go off script, and I'm actually gonna say I think Donatello would make a better leader.
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
Because I feel like you have so
Are we gonna have
Leonardo
this
for
guy back
sure.
on future episodes? Because I mean, credibility is something we're shooting for here, JD. I mean, I just met him for like the third time now, and I don't know.
Well,
maybe
I'm thinking more from a strategic standpoint. If you're gonna have a leader that can pull everybody together, what better person to do it than the one that can break down and rebuild machines, that can see the bigger picture, but yet get into the nitty gritty of things. So I feel from like a strategic planning perspective, just to add some color to this conversation, because like you said, Leo is rightfully the leader.
Yeah.
I think forever and ever, no one can ever argue that. Like, he's always going to be in that position. One, because I feel like Splinter has almost groomed him into that position. He identified something with him at a young age that he's like, you know what, that's going to be my leader. But just to add some color, I think Donatello would make a good leader. He can, if he can get everybody on the same page, in the same way that he can tinker with his machines and take that same mindset and apply that to how do we work as a team? How do we go into battle with a plan and really make the best and just really move in an efficient manner, as a team? Because that's how machines work, right? It's all about efficiency. It's all about trying to get to the quickest from point A to point B in the quickest way. So
I'm angry at how logical.
And by the way, I lost all credibility just by 36 years of existence. So I'm not too worried about any of that right now.
I'm going to say what Saul wants to say. Nerd.
I can't love that and accept that part of me.
And then I like that. Then I accept or expected.
Just because I can't spell computer.
I like.
I just use CPU now. I don't even spell the whole thing.
Yeah, me too. I like that you put
That's not the computer. That's the processing unit. Oh, I'll be quiet over here. Somebody knows I'm the nerd.
I like that you picked Donatello, Chavo. I definitely like that pick. That's interesting to pick someone else who actually might make a good leader.
I was saying that I actually really liked that explanation too. Like,
yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
I never had thought of it like that.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. And yeah, I think, if there was another leader besides Leonardo, I would probably go with Donatello over Raphael. Even though Raphael's my favorite, he's not. He's not. Raphael's my favorite, but he's not a leader. He's
doing an ambush.
But he is the guy that you want on your side on a drunken night when you're fighting some random people. That's who you want backing you up, is Ralph.
All right, let's do the bonus question. Unfortunately, Joe's going to miss it. I'm thinking he lost internet or power because he's not even responding on Facebook now. So I'm thinking he had a catastrophic failure. So hopefully we'll see if he makes it back before the end. If not, shout out. Make sure you go check out the Joe Monroe show and tune into that.
I'd like to think he got sucked up by the computer somehow. Some VR troopers kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, he got.
I thought Tron. I was like,
Right.
Tron, he's going to be racing bikes.
He's trying it.
I got to rewatch those. Anyway, go on.
In fact, Joe and Saul are part of Mayhem Media, and I've tried to recruit CranderQ. He's being a holdout at the moment, and I don't think we have enough to offer Chavo yet, but we will certainly be offering Chavo to join Mayhem Media at some point too. But he's got a lot of other big avenues that likely he will stick with those and not come with Mayhem.
Chavo, you got an opening?
Come roll around the wrestling, the independent wrestling scene. I got you.
Hey,
You've seen me.
It's a good time.
Pays like $2 an hour though. So
can we do $1.95? Because that's the best I could do.
$1.95. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk to my boss. Bring them their numbers.
So what they
Tell Dave I say hi.
the hot dog is $1, and then the handshake's $1.50.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coming up
Crander,
on
you're
top
getting
here.
booted off this episode, bro. All right, so the bonus question. Does anybody remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of Their Shell live tour where they sang music?
Ooh.
What?
I've seen videos, and I think actually my brother-in-law still has the tape.
Oh my God.
I had the
ugliest thing I've ever seen.
I had the tape shower. This is actually inaccurate. This is another version of it, actually. Raphael, Leo and Raphael have the guitar and bass respectively.
Did I mess it up? I probably messed it up. Yeah.
Donatello, I believe, does the drums, and then Michelangelo does the keyboard, if I'm not mistaken, in the one that I've seen. But yes,
that my friend, I hate to be that guy, but that is a keytar. Okay,
burn that with fire.
Damn, take another notch in the nerd.
I've never seen it.
So I'm the only one that's seen that. Saul said he didn't even know what it is.
I didn't even know it. My brain must have blacked that out because I swear I've known about everything Ninja Turtles based, and I've never heard of this. Now I'm terrified because I'm going to have to go on YouTube and look up videos, and it's going to be a nightmare.
Well, there's a huge craze.
No, it's awesome,
live
dude.
tours.
It's not bad. Like, this is cheap. This is an inaccurate representation of actually how cool it is. CranderQ, unfortunately,
they don't look like that. All right. What the hell is going on here?
CranderQ grabbed the crappiest picture of them ever. This is the crappiest picture ever of them. Now they do wear jean jackets.
So maybe I do, and that just doesn't look familiar.
They do wear jean jackets, but they don't look that cheap on, at least on the stage show, the one that was recorded.
Oh man, when you sent me that, I was like, what is this?
I don't understand how you can wear a jean jacket and that look cool.
It was a stage show that went around and they would sing music. There's a whole part where Shredder takes over the show. It's like a musical, basically.
What's he doing, playing violin or what?
It was definitely one of my favorite things. You like anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out because the music is actually really not that bad. Think of it. Remember, I was a kid once. Of course, now would I put it on and listen to the music regularly while I'm like doing something or working? No, not necessarily. But when I was a kid,
if you love it, you love it, man. Like
I stuff I ever heard when I was a kid.
I see Shredder playing the theremin.
Or the harp, but yeah, I mean, if you love it, man, like that's something you love. I mean, we're going to make fun of it, but at the end of the day, it's something you love. You're passionate about it, enjoy it, don't hide it,
I mean, I don't care.
Yeah,
hate it. Leroy, we'll definitely try and get you on 13 card subject to change. Shout out. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, there's a huge craze of that. They had the TMNT live action. They had Power Rangers live action. They had Mortal Kombat live action tour. I mean,
you just opened a whole door there, Chavo.
I'm not saying it was right or it should have been produced in the first place, but
it existed.
It does exist.
I did like the out of their shells, music tour. Like that was I had the
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be like, hell yeah, take me there, man. Like,
oh yeah.
So
I think people got full suits now, like opening the door for Pete the Delivery guys. I would probably cry if someone did that. Like, that's so cool. Like, just imagine delivering a pizza and like these dudes like just pop out, man. That'd be like the best day ever. I'm like, I'm buying your pizza. I don't even care if I'm broke. What? I didn't deliver it.
Forgiveness
Something happened. Yeah.
Forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Okay, so
Ever.
Well, I would
I'm going
love
to jump in real quick. Do you know who the sponsor for the Turtles movie was?
Domino's.
First one.
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
No, it was Domino's for the first one.
The first one is
Domino's. Domino's
Yeah.
got the license for the movie. For
Yeah.
the for
Pizza
the,
Hut was the merchandiser.
yeah.
Remember I sent you that
Oh,
stuff, JD, with the VHS that had the coupons in it and stuff?
Yeah, the game.
I don't know what happened to that visual. I had it
Ninja
somewhere.
Turtles
but
2
I don't know
arcade
if
game
I don't
had
have
a
it
Pizza
anymore.
Hut coupon in it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pizza Hut was that's just like when the new one came out. Pizza Hut had all the rights to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but in the first movie, when they're actually getting pizza delivered and they're waiting for it, it's a Domino's delivery
It's
driver.
Domino's, but
Sure is.
yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, I got this. I was wondering if I was going to be able to pull it out. We're coming to the end.
Dude's got 30 seconds.
Just chewing on a toothpick. Talk about like those movies though too again. Like the puppeteer stuff
Oh,
was awesome back then.
man.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
it holds
I
up
would
now.
love another movie like that. Not even joking. If they
You
could bring
see-
some of that stuff back just for a couple movies, I think it'd be cool.
I heard the last Ronin movie might be a live action. That's the way they're leaning.
Yeah,
would
is it gonna be
definitely be the way to
CGI
go.
though? Because that seems like to be the bread and butter right
It's
now.
gonna
Yeah,
have
you're
to
probably
be.
not wrong. It probably wouldn't be puppets. Yeah, it'd probably be like Avatar CGI stuff.
It'd be good if they can do it. And there's been a couple movies that done some really good practical with some CGI kind of
I don't know if you could do it with the brutality of like the last Ronin is another level of violence. It steps it up.
It's going to be rated R.
It has to be rated R. Like there's no other way. There's no way to make that movie without it being rated R.
No one's gonna watch this show. Spoilers.
Everybody's going to watch this show, even though we haven't gotten a lot of live viewers. We did it a little bit earlier in the evening than we usually do. We've gotten more now that we're after 9. 9 seems to be the universal people tune into podcast time, I've noticed. Like before 9, it's hard to get people to tune in. After 9, it's easy.
What are these lazy people doing?
I don't know. Probably working like I am nonstop.
Probably watching the Joe Monroe show or something.
Yeah. Yeah, he left us. He didn't like where the conversation was going. He
Yep.
bailed. No, he definitely didn't do that. I don't know what happened to Joe. I'm hoping he's okay because he definitely has not even responded to Facebook. So we'll give Joe Monroe one more shout out. And we're going to give Saul Goode a shout out, of course, because we got Into the Barricade coming back very soon. He'll be doing that with Frankie Corleone and with the one and only Hard Pause, Connor Clarkson.
You didn't hard pause. You just want to set hard pause.
You rolled through that one.
Yeah, I did. That's because we've been going for an hour and a half, and some people probably are ready to go.
I'm not. I can stay here all night. I'm a champ.
Sorry, I want to bring up the movie one more time. Y'all ever seen that image of the person that's in the suit where the turtle's smiling? Or no, he's got his mouth open, but you see like the teeth from the person that's in the suit?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so horribly creepy, man.
It always freaks me out when because Kano from the second Turtles does the actual movements and stuff for one of the turtles in both movies, in Turtles 1 and 2. So seeing the shots of him in the turtle suit but without the turtle's head and it being Kano but in a turtle's costume, that's weird.
That's the guy from Surf Ninjas 2, right?
Yeah, Surf Ninjas, yeah.
Great movie. If you've not seen Surf Ninjas,
it's terribly awful. It is terribly
awful, but it's awesome.
Time for awful beach movies that turned out to be amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's so good. It's so terribly good that you should terribly bad good that you need to watch.
I just saw a clip where there's like holding the binoculars, and I never noticed this till I saw this clip. Is where everybody's looking through it, and there's two holes. But then when the guy leading them to the island, who has the eye patch, puts it on, one of them's covered. I thought that was beautiful. Like whoever added that little
Attention to
tidbit,
detail.
yeah, it's great. And you also have to talk about the spin-offs of what Ninja Turtle brought. All the Battletoads, Street Sharks. Was it Biker Mice from Mars, Mighty Ducks.
What was the one with the two
I think I told you about this one, JD. Warriors of Virtue, the Kangaroos.
Mighty Ducks to Ninja Turtles.
Chavo, SWAT Cats.
You've never seen the cartoon of Mighty Ducks?
Chavo asked a question.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Saturday morning Mighty Ducks cartoon.
You're welcome.
I was thinking that probably came from the Mighty Ducks movie, though.
Yes, it did come from the Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah,
That was
but
definitely
I'm sure. I'm
first.
sure as soon as they're like, "Well, we got to make. Should we do?"
Well, nowhere in the
humans?
movie
No,
where
let's do
they
ducks.
actually ducks are fighting crime in space. I mean,
Howard
Well,
the
I mean, yeah,
Duck is the sequel to Mighty Ducks that leads to the Mighty Ducks. Enjoy the timeline, bro.
Yeah, pass on that. And
Where does
My
Darkwing Duck fall into that timeline?
Oh, God.
Launchpad's everywhere, man. Like they thought he was going to be huge. Some of those villains in Darkwing Duck are just as cool as like Ninja Turtle characters, man. Yeah.
Darkwing Duck was awesome.
I was a
Golden
And I
age
thought
of
he was telling
cartoons,
people
man.
to suck ass as a kid. Like, whoa, he's saying suck ass on TV? That's nuts.
Yeah,
The early 90s were a magical time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's everything. We went through most of the visuals because we're at an hour and a half now. So the fact that there's anybody still watching, thank you very much. Please share this episode out. That would be great. Leave us a comment. That would be great. Look for us to do another episode. We're going to try and keep these kind of roundtable topics going. And make sure you go check out Chavo Ornelas. He's also an interviewer and producer with Midwest All-Star Wrestling, or MAW. So make sure you go check them out. And, of course, Saul Goode, the last outlaw from Into the Barricade. That'll be starting back up again soon. So make sure you look for that and go give him a follow as well. And, of course, CranderQ made all the visuals today. Don't let him tell you any different. He made all of the screens that we used to ask.
I didn't see my name on it. I just saw Mayhem Media on it.
He's an excellent graphics producer. And if you need some graphics, you should hit him up and pay him to do so, because he's not going to do it for you without.
He does not work for free.
He's not for free. No, he's not for free. What do you think this cost me right here? All these visuals, you don't even know what I put into this episode.
Thousands of dollars.
Thousands. You got hundreds of dollars of production for these screens. No, of
It's
course
enough
not.
money to cover Saul's teaching of nunchucks to JD.
He's
No, I didn't say I'd teach him anything. I just said I'd come over and hit him in the knees and elbows.
No,
So he
thanks.
can
I
have
think
the
you
same
guys. That's how
experience.
far. That's how far I got before I realized it wasn't going to work.
Gonna run your ass over.
Sitting in a chair, and then you go to swing the nunchucks, and they bounce off your kneecap, and you're like, ah! No, that's
Like,
the
this
end of
isn't
the
my
nunchuck.
thing. Yeah, see, I did it standing up. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to stand up and do it. I just want to point that out too.
How would you know? No offense.
All this talk
Moving
about
on.
nunchucks.
Moving
Because
on.
you
Bring the
you
show.
can do it and I can't.
All
We
this
can
talk
argue
about
off
nunchucks
camera.
makes me want to watch Sidekicks. You ever watch Sidekicks with Chuck
Yes,
Norris
with Chuck
and
Norris.
fuck,
I
was
can't
it
remember the
it's not
kid's
River
name.
Phoenix. I forget his
I
other
can see the
name.
kid, the little blonde kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a scene where he's a daydreamer, and
Yeah.
there's a scene where he's doing nunchucks, and it's like it's some pretty cool editing for the 80s.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
It is.
I'll have
It's a
to check
guilty
that out.
guilty
I've never
pleasure.
heard of that.
That's another great terrible movie. Yes, just like
Yeah.
Starship Troopers.
That's what we should do an episode on next. Terrible movies that we all liked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea actually.
I will
mean,
be
yeah,
here
we'll
all
do
night.
that.
Ready
Yeah,
to rumble.
Chavo, we'll get you back on that episode.
Hey,
too.
say what you want about everything else in life, but don't disrespect Ready to Rumble.
But, dude, one of my favorite
Sal
bad
Bandini,
movies.
want to wrestle?
The fact
Absolutely.
that the Triple Cage made it into real life,
right?
just fucking-
Good
I don't know how
Lord.
that- How and why?
David Arquette is a true
David
wrestling
Arquette was the
champion.
best champion. I mean, Jimmy King is the best wrestler.
I will
story.
rule you. Yep. We've lost all control,
exactly.
JD.
And
Jeez.
we're off the rails.
Look what you
Yep,
started,
it's
JD.
not off the rails. Hey, you know what? We made it 96 minutes in before we went off
That's
the
not bad.
rails.
That's not bad. It's much better than we did last time.
We can go off the rails in the last couple of minutes. I don't have a problem with that. That's just how it is. When you're going this long, you have to go off the rails, or you're
All right.
going mind dead.
I got a quick story here. Chavo, we've actually met before.
Have we?
Yep, don't you dare pro wrestling me either. I was at MAW Grand Slam with Rikishi and Boogeyman and all of them. I was at that show.
Nice. Did I get a chance to
I
actually?
recognized you. Yeah, we talked for a minute.
Okay. Sorry,
Boogeyman was at MAW.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdos in MAW.
Oh, I
including
thought that
myself.
was
That's why I
different.
remember you, Saul. You're just another weirdo, Saul.
Exactly.
Hey, so am I. I mean, weirdos is what makes the world interesting. So,
Dude, we make the world go around. Exactly. If everybody was the same, where would the fun be?
now, you know what? I wonder too. Could you do? There's a couple people that have similar where they'll have like your glass style almost. I'd wonder like if I went up to somebody I maybe thought it was you, and I was like, oh hey, how's it going? And it turned out to be someone I did not know at all. I'm like, oh,
It was me.
Like, oh, well then.
It's like, all right. Yeah, no, for sure. If y'all ever see him in a show, definitely come grab me. I'm just I'm bad with faces and names, but I love to chat and bullshit about wrestling all the time and movies and
Never watched
things.
Echo Wrestling.
You're not gonna see me. You're not gonna see me in Minnesota or out there in the Midwest for likely a little while.
Well, then
But
we'll
if-
have to bring the party to you then.
Yeah. If you and Midwest All Star Wrestling ever come to the East Coast here, you let me know.
Well,
I'll be
Me and Mike D are gonna steal you and like take you all over. Don't worry.
Yeah, come over here. We need some good wrestling over here. Seriously, there's not much in Pennsylvania that's good. That's good independent wrestling. There's really not. Why do you think I don't do more on Mayhem Media, like for like local Pennsylvania? Because
Joe Monroe does the wrestling.
There's really not good organizations here in Pennsylvania. The only good one is like 3 or 4 hours north of here.
Don't you guys have shit? Now I can't even think of it. It's the one Wardlow came from. No, that's Ohio.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I don't. There's almost nothing here in the valley, in the central part of Pennsylvania, in Cumberland.
Yeah,
We are
Cumberland.
lucky in Minnesota, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, plethora
Yeah,
of wrestling here.
Goodness.
And the good
we
thing
don't
too is not only do we have good wrestling, but man, do we have like just a really strong fan base here in Minnesota for all things wrestling. Like even like Friends of the Squared Circle, 13 Cards Subject to Change, Jared and Jerry, like all them folks.
Yeah, Jared.
That go
Jesse
out there.
Jared.
Yeah, Jesse and Jared, like just to go out there and fuck, bro. Like the amount of content that y'all produce and just like,
and it's all different, which is great too.
Yeah, different personalities, different takes on and perspectives.
Different perspectives. Yeah.
So
number one beard in Minnesota, Wisconsin pro wrestling. Name a better one. I'll wait.
It must be
I just proved my
terrible. Must be terrible for your masculinity to be tied to the length of your beard.
Hey, I'll tell you something off camera. All right, you hold on.
Hey, you're not telling me off camera. I'll tell you off.
No, I'm not telling you off. I will tell you my secret on camera.
Wow.
So you all are going to do what? You're going to off each other off camera?
It's a fake beard.
Yeah, I'm going to send him one.
The hat with the beard on it that they sell around Christmas time here, so you can be Paul Bunyan.
I like that.
Hey, I'm happy with mine.
Red cap and a beard.
Yeah.
I can't have a lengthy beard. My beard can go a little bit wider up on the sides, maybe.
Just so everybody knows we're still live.
Of course we're live. It can't get any longer, though. I can't make my beard any longer.
This is the premium content.
It's a fire hazard.
For subscribers only.
It's a Patreon exclusive. Fire hazard. So I can't grow my beard.
To Turtles After Dark, where we discuss beards.
Who cares if we're live?
I need a beard sponsor.
We didn't get off this.
Wrap her up. Where can we find you, JD? Bring her home.
All right, we'll wrap up now. Let's get off the beards and wrap it up. Follow Mayhem Media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit that subscribe button, please, so that you know when we go live. And of course, our storefront right now is bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. But soon it'll be bonfire.com/Mayhem Media Inc. Go check out Friends of the Squared Circle, CranderQ. Tell him that Mayhem Media sent you, and tell him how good his content is. He's just he likes to self-deprecate, but he's good.
Let's be friends.
Yes, exactly. That's how do you think I met all these other guys? Likely through CranderQ and his.
Oh, geez, I'm so sorry, everybody.
Saul Goode, Into the Barricade, The Last Outlaw. He's going to be hosting Into the Barricade along with Frankie Corleone and Connor Clarkson. So make sure you tune into that. That'll be making its comeback here in the next few weeks. And of course, go check out Chavo and follow him and Midwest All-Star Wrestling, and tell him Mayhem Media sent you.
That's right. At MAW Live on YouTube.
At MAW Live on YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody watch my videos, please.
I'll go watch some of your videos as soon as we're out of here so that you get some.
I watched them. They're good.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Joe Monroe Show, the second place beard, and all of podcasting.
Yep. Joe Monroe
in podcasting. Damn, he's moving up in the world.
Joe Monroe is disappeared on us, and we're not sure where he went actually at this point. So
He knew this was coming.
I'm gonna find out where he went also, and hopefully we can get all these guys back again. I like the idea CranderQ had of doing like a best worst movies kind of a like the following.
And we all have to watch them.
I've already seen them all. So
Guilty pleasure music.
yeah. So
Rock and Roll High School forever.
we'll try and set that up for sometime in July next month, if at all possible. So make sure you stay tuned to that. And tomorrow night is Sunday night, and tomorrow night starts season 2 of House of the Dragon, which means immediately 15 minutes after House of the Dragon ends, tune in to Mayhem Media and watch After the Dragon, which is our after show that follows each corresponding episode of House of the Dragon. So make sure you tune into that also. Until next time, for CranderQ, Saul Goode, and Chavo Ornelas, I am your host, JD. And that's the end.
Brr, brr.